Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories, where imagination floats you softly into dreamland. Breathe, rest, and sleep.
Welcome to Deep Sleep Stories, a place where your journey into rest and rejuvenation softly begins. In this calm, unhurried moment, you are invited to settle down and leave behind the stir of the day. Slowly ease your eyes closed, or let them rest gently on a serene spot in the room. Notice your breath rising and falling in a soothing rhythm. As you breathe, imagine you are standing at the threshold of a dreamlike realm, soon to be guided on a tranquil adventure involving a gentle, twilight exploration of Hercules and his quiet, mystical trial. Let each exhalation carry away the weight of your day. Let each inhalation draw in stillness and serenity. This is your time to unwind. Take a deep, comforting breath in, feeling your chest expand with a wave of calm. Exhale slowly, sensing the space around you grow warm and welcoming. Now, let the muscles in your neck and shoulders sink into an easier, more peaceful position. Notice your hands and fingers releasing any lingering tension, letting it drip away like morning dew melting under the gentle sun. As you continue to breathe, feel your face soften, your brow unfurrowed, your eyelids growing heavier, and a tender warmth illuminating the inside of your mind, as though lit by a lone, flickering candle in a still, ancient temple. Breathe in once more, slowly, carefully. You might sense that your thoughts are slowing down, their chatter growing ever more faint. Exhale. Picture yourself stepping onto a lush and peaceful pathway, bordered by trees that sway lazily in a gentle breeze. Soft, subtle light filters through the leaves, creating a mosaic of gentle shadows upon the forest floor. It's the kind of soothing glow that invites you to linger in that green solitude, content to let your senses rest in nature's gentle hush. Let the hush envelop you, carrying you deeper into the promise of comfort. As you continue to settle, bring your awareness to the weight of your body, letting it sink a bit more into your bed or chair. Feel the softness beneath you, welcoming and supportive, allowing every bone, every muscle, every thought to slow in unison with the tranquil surroundings of your imagination. Hear the distant call of a night bird, the hush of a whispering wind, and let these distant murmurs guide you toward rest. Breathe in calmness. Breathe out any stray worries. Here, in this soft, serene haze, you are ready for a story that begins gently, leads you through mystical wonder, and ushers you further into relaxation. Now, with your mind calmed and your breath centered, allow the narrative to unfold around you. Close your eyes, if you haven't already, and drift from the conscious bustle of day into a peaceful realm of night and dreams. Feel the hush of comfort wrapping around you. So let us embark upon a tale set among ancient Greek hills and quiet, magical valleys. With the next gentle breath, allow this story to carry you away as we shift into a soft telling of Hercules' Twilight Trial, filled with starlight and hushed marvels, spoken now as if you are observing it from a distance, a tranquil spectator gazing into a world designed to lull your mind into rest. Hercules stood at the edge of an ancient marble courtyard in the cool hush of early evening. The sky overhead deepened to a velvety purple, and the first star of dusk gently flickered to life. In this dimming light, the famed hero was not the forceful, triumphant figure so often recalled in songs of epic battles. Instead, he was calm, contemplative, drawn to the quiet glow of twilight. Before him lay a gentle task, a trial that demanded not brawn or might, but patience and a serene heart. He gazed up at the oncoming night, letting the hush of that peaceful hour envelop him. In a grove nearby, slender olive trees twisted and bent, their leaves reflecting silver under the subdued glow of a fading sun. An ancient temple rose from the ground, half hidden by vines of ivy that draped themselves over cracked pillars. The steps leading to this sanctuary glimmered in the twilight, the worn marble capturing the last rays of the setting sun. Hercules approached slowly, footsteps hushed, each step releasing a faint echo that drifted through the open air. The gentle breath of a breeze carried the fragrance of thyme and sage across his path, mingling with the soothing hint of the ocean that rolled far beyond the horizon. As the hero carefully entered the temple's courtyard, the hush within offered a serene respite. Stone altars stood like silent custodians of memory, and mosaic floors, though worn and chipped, still displayed swirling patterns of cobalt and gold. In that subtle evening light, these patterns seemed to shimmer and shift, as though awakened by the presence of a gentle spirit. Hercules knelt, placing a broad palm against the stones. He closed his eyes and let the stillness settle. There, in the quiet, he heard a melodic hush, as if the ancient temple itself sang a lullaby of ages past. Past columns that bore faint carvings of winged creatures and drifting clouds, Hercules ventured deeper. He had come in search of a hidden garden whispered about in Restful legends. It was said that within this secret space, the boundaries between the mortal world and the dream realm grew thin. One did not struggle there. Instead, one found a deeper calm, an unspoken wisdom. Soft starlight now glowed overhead, revealing a path dusted with shimmering grains. The hero moved with reverent care, each movement deliberate, as though the air itself were too peaceful to disturb. At the heart of the temple's interior, a gentle courtyard emerged, open to the heavens and adorned with trailing vines and pale blossoms that released their perfume at night. Stars shone upon the blossoms, making them gleam like small moonlit lanterns in the dark. A solitary fountain rested in the center, its waters trickling out a soft, mesmerizing lull. Hercules paused, closing his eyes for a moment to absorb the gentle cadence. His breathing slowed, matching the fountain's rhythm. It seemed to him that the hush of this place was cradled in the palm of night itself, and he sensed that here some delicate threshold was within reach. The trial he faced was named the Twilight Trial, not because it involved formidable beasts or labyrinthine tests of wit, but because it asked for surrender to the gentle power of dusk. It was a trial of letting go, learning to find insight within stillness rather than heroic action. In the hush of this ancient temple garden, Hercules felt the presence of something akin to a guardian, not visible, yet softly watchful, like a comforting hand resting lightly on his shoulder. The hero reminded himself that quiet can be a teacher, and so he listened. He listened to the distant sound of rustling leaves, the faint hoot of an owl beyond the temple walls, and the gentle gurgle of water circling through the fountain. These were not roars of monstrous lions, nor thunderous applause of admirers. Instead, they were the small lullabies of nature's nighttime domain. He felt his spirit settling into the environment, releasing the tension of past trials and the memory of formidable tasks. In the subdued glow of evening, it was enough to breathe, to take in the gentle hush of this hidden space. Slowly, Hercules made his way to a small alcove along one edge of the courtyard. There he discovered a wooden bench carved with symbols of the moon and the sun entwined, a delicate motif that seemed to speak of unity. Day merging into night, effort merging into rest. He eased onto the bench and looked around, noticing that the ivy trailing down the ancient stone had pale, ghostly blossoms that only opened after sunset. Their faint fragrance swirled around him, reminiscent of faraway shores and the comforting hush of distant waves. The air grew even softer, as if all creatures in the world paused in mutual reverence for the arrival of night. Hercules breathed in the floral scent, letting his shoulders drop, feeling his heartbeat slow to a gentle cadence. He had ventured here expecting to face a challenge, yet the environment asked for acceptance rather than conquest. A mild curiosity stirred within him. How would the Twilight Trial appear? Would it unfold in a vision, or whisper its secret through a gentle breeze? For the moment, he remained still, content to bask in the garden's serene welcome. High overhead, the sky deepened to a tender midnight hue, dotted with glimmers of starlight. A crescent moon rose, pale as pearl. Its radiance touched the temple pillars and the mosaic tiles, drawing gentle arcs of light over every surface. Hercules watched the moon rise with a soft gaze, letting its light lull him into a deeper calm. He could feel each breath resonate through his body, connecting his grounded presence with the vast expanse of the night sky. From one corner of the garden drifted a faint shimmer. Hercules turned his head to see a soft glow dancing near the base of a marble pillar. The glow pulsed like a gentle heartbeat, each brightening, accompanied by a whispering hush, like the hush of wind through a silver harp. Drawn by this subtle phenomenon, Hercules rose from the bench, footsteps light, so as not to disturb the tranquil hush. He approached the gleam, noticing now that it flickered against the carved patterns in the stone, swirling lines that suggested drifting clouds, or perhaps the gentle waves of a quiet lake. Kneeling, he discovered a small stone tile etched with a crescent shape. Moonlight seemed to gather there, creating a pool of luminescence that danced across his fingertips. It felt comforting, like cool water on a warm summer night. He sensed that this was the first sign of the Twilight Trial's presence, a silent invitation rather than a challenge. Carefully, Hercules lifted the tile, revealing a hidden hollow beneath. Within lay a slender silver key, smooth to the touch, gleaming with the glow of moonbeams. He held it in his palm, allowing himself a moment to marvel at the gentle power it exuded. Across the garden, he then noticed another faint illumination, an arched doorway with gilded edges that seemed to gather the moon's light into an outline of shimmering softness. Perhaps the key fit that door. Perhaps the next step in the trial awaited him there. Hercules walked slowly, each footstep measured. He passed the silent fountain, a companion in the hush. He felt an inexplicable calm expanding in his chest, as if the air in this sacred place was charged not with tension, but with a longing to console and ease. Upon reaching the door, Hercules noticed a single keyhole that glowed with the same faint shimmer as the silver key. Before inserting it, he paused, taking a deliberate breath, grounding himself in the restful presence of the moment. The distant night bird cooed again, as if reminding him to proceed gently. He slipped the key into the lock, turned it, and felt the door yield with a soft, almost musical note. The door swung inward, revealing another realm of starlit wonder. Beyond the threshold was a corridor gently lit by pale, suspended orbs of light that drifted as if guided by a gentle current of air. The walls were painted with scenes of forests and meadows under moonlight, all in dreamy, muted hues. Footsteps making no sound, Hercules proceeded. The corridor seemed to breathe around him, soft expansions of light, quiet pulses of calm. And in that hush, he sensed his mind unraveling the knots of old concerns, worries sliding away in slow, steady waves. At the corridor's far end, a modest chamber welcomed him. Its domed ceiling displayed a detailed map of the sky, constellations of ages past, traced out in luminous paint that gently glowed. In the center rested a circular pool, its surface like mirrored glass, reflecting both the dome's starry pattern above and Hercules' quiet form. Delicate steps led down to the water's edge, and around the pool stood tall candles with faint, flickering flames. They cast dancing reflections across the pool's surface, forming an almost hypnotic pattern. Hercules felt the gentle pull of the pool's surface, an invitation not to dive or struggle, but simply to be present. He descended the steps, kneeling at the water's edge. The air was fragrant, with the soft sweetness of night-blooming flowers, and the hush in that chamber seemed thick enough to cradle every thought in a comforting embrace. His reflection looked back at him, softened by the candlelight. Perhaps it was this calm setting, or perhaps the nature of the Twilight Trial. But for the first time in many months, Hercules felt wholly at peace. He touched the water with a cautious fingertip. It was pleasantly cool, sending a gentle ripple across the surface, distorting the reflection of stars above. Then, as the ripples subsided, a subtle glow appeared within the pool's depths. Slowly, the glow took shape, revealing a faint image. It looked like the outline of a silver archway, akin to a gateway that shimmered in an underwater dream. Hercules watched, drawn into the soft glow. His breath slowed even more, and for a long moment he remained still, content to watch the vision unfold. In the vision, the silver archway stood in a tranquil field of wildflowers under a dusky sky. The arch's surface glinted with the gentle sheen of moonlight, and a figure, indistinct at first, stood before it. That figure, Hercules realized, was himself. The image was dreamlike, a reflection of a reflection, almost like peering into an alternate realm. Slowly, the figure in the vision stepped through the archway and disappeared into a haze of starlight. There was no strife, no rush, only a quiet sense of purposeful calm. Feeling guided, Hercules closed his eyes and allowed the hush of the chamber to settle around him, his mind drifting like a feather on a still evening breeze. In the darkness behind his eyelids, he saw the same scene: a meadow drenched in twilight, an archway that shimmered as if fashioned from the essence of moonbeams. Rising, he opened his eyes and turned. Though there was no physical gate in the chamber, he sensed a call within his heart, telling him to seek a place beyond the temple, somewhere outside in the hush of night. The next step of the Twilight Trial was beckoning gently. Exiting through a side passage, Hercules emerged into a fresh night, cool and softly welcoming. He stood at the boundary of the temple grounds, gazing out at rolling hills bathed in moonlight. The distant silhouettes of cypress trees rose like dark sentinels, quietly swaying to the nocturnal breeze. A faint path led away from the temple, winding among gentle slopes. Stars overhead formed a canopy of silent wonder, each point of light shimmering in the vastness. Hercules followed the path, listening to the soft rustle of grass underfoot, the hush of his own breathing, and the quiet beating of his heart. As he wandered further from the temple, he found the landscape gently shifting. Clusters of night-blooming flowers, their petals pale as moonlight, lined the path. Wisps of mist floated in the hollows between hills, glistening under the stars. Occasionally, a mild gust of wind would set the grass rustling like whispered secrets. The entire world seemed half asleep, lulled by a cosmic lullaby. Hercules' mind remained calm, his thoughts drifting as softly as the mist. Here, in the stillness of night, He sensed that the Twilight Trial was guiding him to a place of inward peace. At last, he crested a small slope, and there, in the dell below, stood an archway shaped from ancient branches woven together. The vines were adorned with tiny glowing orbs, not quite fireflies, but little sparks of light that pulsed with gentle warmth. The arch stood solitary in the clearing, surrounded by tall grass that shimmered in the moon's radiance. It resembled the scene he had glimpsed in the water's reflection, except more tangible, imbued with the soft breath of living plants. Hercules descended carefully, his footsteps slow and mindful. Upon reaching the arch, he paused, letting the hush of the clearing envelop him. The breeze settled, as if nature itself held its breath, waiting. There was no sign forbidding him, no monstrous guardian to bar his way. Rather, a feeling of acceptance lingered in the air, a whisper that he need only step through to continue his journey of stillness. The orbs along the vines flickered, forming patterns reminiscent of constellations in the nighttime sky. Hercules exhaled a quiet sigh of appreciation. This trial was unlike any he had encountered, and yet it carried a profound weight, urging him to discover the quiet depths of his own spirit. He stepped forward, passing beneath the woven arch. For an instant, everything shimmered with a gentle luminescence, as if the night itself had drawn a silver curtain around him. Then he found himself standing in a different clearing, or perhaps the same clearing, but enveloped in a dreamlike haze. Moonlight rained softly from above, illuminating floating petals that glided on the still air. The entire place felt hushed, as if every creature, every leaf, every star was unified in the peacefulness of the moment. In this dreamlike glade, a soft shape emerged from behind a large, mossy stone. It was a doe with large, luminous eyes, its coat the color of twilight. The doe regarded Hercules for a moment, not in fear, but with a gentle curiosity. It lifted its slender neck, revealing a delicate marking upon its brow, a subtle crescent moon pattern. The creature took a tentative step forward, and Hercules felt a faint stirring in his chest, as though the space between them was bridged by calm understanding. The doe blinked slowly, then turned and began to walk, pausing occasionally to glance back at Hercules. He understood that this creature was guiding him, leading him deeper into this realm of hushed marvel. He followed with quiet steps, respecting the serenity that surrounded them. The grass beneath him was soft, almost velvety, and as he walked, the floating petals drifted aside as if propelled by a gentle, unseen breeze. Together they moved across the glade, the doe and the hero united in a wordless harmony. They reached a quiet pool, smaller than the one in the temple, but just as reflective, capturing the gentle shimmer of moonlight and starlight. The doe paused at its edge, dipping its graceful head to drink. Hercules knelt beside it, watching the faint ripple spread across the water's surface. The silent acceptance shared between them was as calming as a lullaby. In that moment, Hercules felt deeply connected to the heartbeat of the nighttime world. He set one hand softly in the dew-covered grass and inhaled the fresh scents of night, letting them permeate his entire being. A whisper of movement in the air caused Hercules to lift his gaze. Across the water, an ethereal figure appeared, slender, cloaked in silver, radiating the gentle glow of a waning moon. Though its features were soft and indistinct, Hercules sensed a presence of profound compassion, this being extended a slender arm, and from the tip of its fingers, a faint silver thread arced through the air, resting upon the surface of the pool. At once, images shimmered to life within the water, quiet scenes of gentle starlit paths, drifting clouds and restful meadows. It was as if the entire domain of peaceful night had been laid out in that reflective moment. Then, the figure spoke, though the words were as soft as a breeze brushing through tall grass. There was no thunderous command, no challenge to prove might. Instead, it offered this calm counsel: to embrace the quiet and discover that within gentle silence lie truths that no roar of battle can reveal. Hercules let the being's whispers settle in his heart, content to receive rather than strive. He felt a wave of warmth flow through him, a soothing acceptance that reminded him how rest itself can hold a kind of heroism. Slowly, the figure receded back into the moonlit shadows, leaving behind a lingering silver glow that wreathed the clearing in a gentle luminescence. The doe, having finished its drink, bowed its head once to Hercules, then turned and walked back into the hush of the forest. Hercules felt neither loss nor yearning. Instead, he felt gratitude for their shared moment, a silent conversation sealed within the tranquil night. Alone beside the pool, Hercules exhaled a soft breath. The Twilight Trial, he understood, was not so much a single task as it was a gentle unveiling of the power in serenity. If there was a lesson, it was that even the greatest feats can pale beside the simple grace of quiet presence. The hero closed his eyes, allowing the hush to wash over him, letting the boundaries of his body blur with the surrounding darkness. There was no separation now between him and the calm that enveloped this realm. When he opened his eyes again, the clearing seemed brighter, as if dawn was subtly approaching, not to blaze with color, but to offer a gentle transition back to the waking world. The petals that had drifted through the air settled softly in the grass. The orbs woven into the archway dimmed, but their glow still guided him, a reminder of where he had stepped through. Rising slowly, Hercules traced his steps back across the glade, returning beneath the branch-woven arch, his heart light with the new knowledge gleaned from stillness. Emerging on the other side, he found himself at the foot of the temple once more. The sky still shimmered with stars, but the horizon carried a faint promise of morning. The hero felt an unspoken sense of fulfillment, as though he had completed a path that required no outward confrontation, only a gentle willingness to listen. In the courtyard, the fountain still offered its musical trickle, and the blossoms shone pale under starlight's veil. Hercules paused to reflect, to appreciate the silence that had guided him. Returning to the temple's interior, he placed the silver key back into its hidden nook beneath the tile, feeling a sense of reverence for this place that protected such a peaceful test. The temple seemed to sigh in relief, as though content that the trial had been quietly fulfilled. Hercules placed a hand on the age-worn stone, whispering gratitude in the hush that filled his chest. Then he made his way back to the bench where he had first sat among the ivy and moonlit flowers. Easing onto the smooth wood again, he watched the faint light of early morning grow along the horizon, casting soft lavender and pale gold across the sky. The wind, still gentle, stirred the olive trees, rustling leaves in a tranquil lullaby. Hercules leaned back, letting the bench support him, letting the hush cradle his form. A wave of serenity unfurled inside him, as comforting as a warm blanket. With each breath, he felt the night's lessons seep into his core, reminding him that calm had its own strength. Across distant fields, the soft chirping of birds heralded a new day, yet the hush persisted within Hercules, as though the Twilight Trial had infused him with its quiet magic. He understood now that this trial was a delicate gift, showing him that to rest and be at peace with oneself can be an act of profound courage and power. Heroic deeds need not always come with thunder and strife. Sometimes they arrive with a gentle hush and a moment's stillness. In those final moments before the first rays of sunrise broke the horizon, he allowed his gaze to wander over the temple's solemn pillars, the drifting vines, the nighttime blossoms that began to fold their petals. The hush of twilight was fading, but the inner calm it bestowed lingered, softly encouraging him to carry that tranquility forward. The trial was complete, but its gentle echo would remain. Quietly, Hercules rose, stretching with a supple ease that spoke of renewed energy. He cast a final glance around the courtyard, bidding silent farewell to the space that had been his companion through the night. Then he turned and walked toward the temple's entrance, his footsteps as soft as a sigh. One by one, the stars receded, leaving behind a pearly sky. The hush of dawn settled around him like a kind, guiding hand. Now, you who have listened to this story, may you feel that same softness guiding your own breath and your own dreams. The hush Hercules embraced can envelop you as well, like a glimmer of moonlight across your thoughts, bidding you to relax, release tension, and slip gently into rest. Let that stillness fill your mind, letting one thought drift lazily into another, dissolving concerns until all that remains is a calm, steady awareness of your body at ease. As you breathe in, feel a lightness in your chest, a subtle glow of calm that spreads outward. As you exhale, notice any lingering remnants of the day quietly slipping away, melting into the welcoming hush of night. No need to chase them. Let them float off like dandelion seeds carried on a soft breeze. Your body grows heavier, sinking deeper into your bed, and the mind grows lighter, drifting toward the realm of dreams. Each breath gently closes one more door on the noise of the day. Allow your eyelids to grow tenderly heavier, embracing the restful darkness behind them. Each muscle in your body loosens, from the crown of your head down to the very tips of your toes. Imagine a warm, gentle glow radiating through your body, dissolving tension in its path, leaving only a deep, comforting sense of tranquility. The hush of Hercules' Twilight Garden is yours now, a quiet place where you can linger freely, unhurried by the demands of the waking world. Should your mind wander to thoughts, let them drift in and out without pressing upon them. Return your focus to the gentle rise and fall of your breath, the sensation of the sheets against your skin, the mellow weight of your limbs. Soon you may feel yourself gently slipping, like stepping through a dream archway, leaving behind the realm of conscious chatter and entering a soft meadow of sleep. Here your worries rest. Here your body and mind can restore their natural, peaceful balance. Good night, dear traveler. May you find solace in slumber, cradled by the tender hush of gentle dreams. Let the memory of Hercules' Twilight Trial reassure you that calm, serenity, and quiet confidence are always within reach. Sleep well, and let the promise of a new dawn wait patiently on the horizon, ready to greet you once you awaken, renewed and at peace. Rest now in the lullaby of this serene night. Sleep and be well.